Okay, so we'll start a new chapter today. We will start this chapter, the environment in which projects operate. So this is chapter number 2. So before starting the chapter, let me share my whiteboard. What is the main theme of the chapter? Let's first understand here. So just a small question to you. We do project, right? So project actually where belongs to, the projects belongs to where? When we are doing a project, where we do the project? When you're saying we are doing a project, where the project is actually occurring, or where the project is initiated.
Bluetooth connected.
So when we are doing a project, actually what we are doing? We are doing the project in an organization, inside an organization, right? Every project starts in an organization to meet the organizational strategy to create business value for that organization, right? Are you hearing me?
Exactly, right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So you understood. So any project we do for a business, for an organization, to create business value or to meet strategic objective of that organization, right? So project actually occurs inside an organization. So say this circle is the project and this bigger circle is the organization. So what will happen if these projects reside inside this organization? That means the organization's business policy, organizational HR policy, organizational governance, organizational culture. So all these things will have effect on this project, right? The project will be affected by the organizational existing processes, governance, HR policy, and other things, right? So there will be a lot of influence the project will feel from the organization. Again, if I draw another outer circle, this is the outer circle, and I am saying that this is the country. This circle is the country. So this organization belongs to one country, or maybe the organization is dispersed in different countries, but the law of that country, the law of that land has some impact on the organization and so as well on the project, right? Because every project exists inside the organization and every organization exists inside the country. So that country's power, politics, that country's religion, political movement, economy, environment, weather, everything will have some impact on the project. All right. And if I draw another bigger circle, which is actually global or the whole world. So the world's economy, world's political situation, everything has an impact on the project also, right? Have you got the idea?
Yes, sir.
So what I want to mean here that every project resides inside an organization and that organizational different kind of influences affect the project. Similarly, the countries, rules, regulations, and political situation, economy, everything actually affects the project. Similarly, the global condition, the COVID situation, for example, the COVID situation, this is a global situation which has a impact on the project, right? So different kind of things actually has great impact on project. So in this chapter, we will discuss about that. So this influence, I am saving it and clearing this. So this influence, I am writing here influence. Influence have positive impact or have some negative impact, right? For example, today we are using Zoom, right? Zoom was not making that much money before COVID. But within this COVID situation, within these couple of months, they actually, the owners of Zoom, they become billionaires within these few months, the COVID situation, right? So project may have positive impact and influence from this outside the organization or the country or the global situation has some positive impact, may have some negative impact. So these impacts are divided in PMBOK as two types. One is EEF. EEF means enterprise environmental factor. Another one is OPA. OPA means organizational process asset. Organizational process asset, right? So I have drawn like this. This is the project and this is the organization. So the organization, every organization is having some processes, policies, procedures that you have to follow. So that is known as OPA, organizational process asset. All right. And EF has two components, two subcomponents. One is external, another one is internal. All right. Internal belongs to the organization, and external generally belongs to the country's rule, which region the organization is placed, and other things. So this is the external EF. And OPA also having two parts. One is 3P, PPP. PPP means organizational existing policy, procedure, and processes. All right. And another one is knowledge base. I am writing this KB. Knowledge base means the existing lesson learned from the earlier projects in the organization. That has a great impact on the project. So if you are a new organization, then what will happen? You are not having good knowledge base because you did not do any project earlier. But when you are doing same project for say for 10 years, then you will have different kind of experience with you as an organization. That will help to do the project. So this influence is categorized like this. EF is two types, external, internal. OPS two types, policy, procedure, and processes, and knowledge base. Okay. So this external, have you heard this word? Anyone can say, elaborate this word? What I wrote here. What is it? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Pastel. Anyone know what is pastel means? What is the elaboration of pastel?
Yes, sir.
Let me explain here. P means political. Political. E means
Economical.
economical. Economic.
Social.
Yes. S means
Social. Social.
social, right? So we know actually social. Then T means
Uh,
technology.
technological. L to legal.
Right, right. So L is legal. And E is, what is E? Environment.
জানি স্যার
Right.
হচ্ছিল
Hmm? So this six, right? So it one organizations,
এক্সটার্নাল এনভায়রনমেন্ট স্যার
these are the EF, external environmental factors. These are. Right? So uh, country's political situation, country economic condition, social condition, technological condition, technical technological situation, then legal conditions, environment, everything has an impact on the project. So these things are known as EF. All right. So if EF are those things that is not under the control of the project team. Project team cannot control this, right? Even the organization cannot control this. All these are having huge impact on the organization, let alone project. All right, so these are not EF. So now let me go to the slides and let us discuss what we have learned here. Let me share this PowerPoint slides. So this is the chapter, the environment in which projects operates. So we have to understand as projects running in an organization, so what are the things that has impact on the project that we need to understand as a project manager while we are doing project. So these environmental effects are divided into two types. One is EF and the one is OPA. So let's discuss in detail. So project is an open or closed system. Project is an open system. That's why there are different impacts on the project, right? Different things are having impact on the projects. So project is an open system. So those impacts we need to consider while we are running project. So these influences having positive impact or negative impact. So positive impact is favorable impact and negative impact is the unfavorable impact. So both things we need to consider, we need to take into consideration while we are doing or running a project. So this thing I just explained in the whiteboard. Influences are two types that are discussed in this book, in this chapter. One is EF, enterprise environmental factors, and the other one is OPA, internal OPA. That means inside the organization. This EF has two parts. One is external, other one is internal. All right. So we'll see what are the examples. I have given an example of external, that is pestle. And internal OPS, there are two types. 3P, right? Processes, policies, and procedures. And corporate knowledge base. The knowledge from previous projects. So that is known as corporate knowledge base. So we will discuss enterprise environmental factor in detail, organizational process asset in detail, and another component we will discuss that is known as organizational systems. All right. So these three things will be the content of this chapter. So same thing I have seen shown here. And EF, this is the difference between the EF and OPA. So main difference is EF is not under the control of the project team, even not with the organization. The organization also cannot control this EF, right? So let me give you example. So EF, the internal part, organizational culture, right? Organizational structure, organizational governance. These are internal EF, internal. That means it belongs to the organization. Then geographic distribution of facilities and resources. If one organization has only one office, then the management is different, governance is different. But if the organization is big, say one bank, so the government banks in every district and even every thana or upujela, they are having their branches. So that type of organization's management is broad and that governance is big, very big. Even our government is the largest enterprise or organization in the country. So their governance policy, their structure, their management is different than a small organization. So if you are running a project in government sector, then you have to consider a lot of things. But if you are running a project in a small organization, then your consideration will be limited. Not so many things will have impact on the project. Infrastructure of the organization, right? We are talking about internal. That means all are related to the organization. Information technology software. In your organization, what kind of software you are using? Say if you are using a project management software in the organization, then that has an impact on your project. Then resource availability. Whether the resources you are targeting, especially people resource, are they available in your organization or not? Or you need to hire from outside. So this is also part of internal EF. And employee capability. So your employees in the organization, are they capable to run the project or not? Do we need to hire experienced professionals or consultants or subject matter experts from outside? Or we are enough to manage this project? So that is actually employee capability. So these are the things that is part of EF, but internal. All right. Now let's discuss what are the external factors. I have already given you example, the pestle, right? So marketplace condition, that is outside of the organization, right? Marketplace condition, the total market condition. For example, due to COVID, the market condition is for different, some kind of business, the market condition is very bad situation now. And most of the garments, they are not having any order. Who are related to garments, this is the month. This August, September, October, this is the month when the garments get orders from outside. But lot of organizations, lot of garments, textiles organizations, they are not getting a single order in this COVID situation from Europe or other countries. So they are having a troublesome situation now, right? So marketplace condition is having great impact on the project. Then social. I already mentioned social in Pesto. Then legal conditions, right? If you are doing a project in America and another project you are running in Bangladesh, so what will happen? The project you are running in America, you have to follow the American rules, regulations, and legal restrictions. In Bangladesh, you have to follow the Bangladesh government's rules, regulations. All right. So these things you have to consider. Then commercial database. And sometimes in project we will use different kind of published database for our support. For example, we are going to analyze what will be the resource cost for a project. So where we will get the resource cost? Maybe we will use some commercial database over the internet. So that is known as commercial database. Academic research, right? So academic research always have some impact on your project if you are doing such kind of project. All right. In Bangladesh, sometimes we have to take approval from BUET, right? BUET sometimes approve the measures, check some quality, and then they give approval. So this academic research you have to consider. Government or industry standards. So if government is having some standard, in Bangladesh there is a standard organization, right? Who verify a standard for different products and services, especially different products, BSTI, right? So if you are, say, if you are making a biscuit item or chocolate item or food item, so you have to get approval from BSTI. Without the approval of BSTI, you cannot introduce a biscuit or a food product in the market. So that means if you are doing a product, food product, you have to consider government or industry standards. For Bangladesh, BSTI. You have to take permission from BSTI. Then financial considerations, whether you are having budget or not, who are funding for the organization, all those things you have to consider. And the physical environmental elements. Do you understand this? What is physical environmental elements? That is pastel, environment. So if you are building a 5-story building in Dhaka city, so that is different than if you are building a 5-story building in Alaska, Canada, because the weather condition, climate, everything is different. Same kind of engineering technique you cannot use in Dhaka, same technique you cannot use in Canada, right? So these are the things that are external factors. When you are doing a project, you have to consider all this. So সবার কি ভিডিও আছে নাকি? কাউকে তো দেখতে পাই না, না দেখলে কেমন হবে? সবাই কি বুঝতে পারছেন? Have you understood so far what I discussed?
স্যার বেঞ্চমার্কিংটা স্যার কি একটু বলবেন স্যার?
Benchmarking.
জি স্যার।
So what is benchmarking? Benchmarking is standard actually. Something already, there is some standard. Say for example, one country has created something, say one product they have created. So they have actually created a benchmark, a standard for us. So if we want to make same product, we may follow that benchmark to achieve the same kind of features, functionalities, and quality in our product. So that is known as benchmark. Considering or taking some reference to develop our new product. That is known as benchmark. The reference thing, best thing in the market. So that we are taking as reference, that is known as benchmarking. Okay. Any question? সবাই একটু ভিডিও অন রাখলে ভালো হয়, কাউকে তো দেখতে পাচ্ছি না আসলে।
Hello sir, may I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir, can you please back to the first page?
What?
I mean first slide.
First slide.
Yeah, no.
First slide. This one.
This is, of course, yeah. This is influencing on the project. You are divided like enterprise and environmental factors, which will be included in external and internal. So how these external and internal factors, impact the project? You may mention different kinds of external and internal factors, but how?
I cannot understand your question. What is the question?
I mean, you have mentioned different factors that are impacting the project, like external factors and external and internal factors, which is all environmental factors. So how these external and internal and external factors impact the project, like political, like social, like
how these things affect project?
Yeah, I mean external and internal factors. How they impact the project.
So this is very, I am actually from the beginning I am giving that example actually. So external factors, right? So political condition, economic condition. If your country is economically poor,
Yeah, political condition and environmental condition is a symbol, but
Okay.
you might define a different factors, external factors and environmental factors, like legal restriction is so.
Hmm.
So how this kind of factors will impact the project? Is it
Right.
at the very beginning of the project? I mean the project initiation, you might think this kind of factors, or it is not responsibility for the project manager.
Is this responsibility of the project manager or not? You're asking that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is a must responsibility of project manager. You have to understand the legal restrictions. If you want to build a building in Dhaka city, in our capital Dhaka city, you have to take permission from Rajuk, take permission from city corporation. So these permissions are legal permissions. As a project manager, if you do not take these legal permissions, then you cannot build this building. All right. So that's why, as a project manager, you have to always consider all these things. What are the external and internal things having impact in your project? You have to consider everything. Otherwise, you will suffer in your project. In our Bangladesh, there was a 20-story building in Farmgate, rank still, right? Everyone have seen rank still, 20-story building. That was demolished because they have not taken legal permission from government. That is why 20-story building was demolished. Eh, Nobody can restrict that because they have denied the legal authorities permission.
Reza bhai, the unionized employee, would they be fall under internal to the organization or external? Unionized employees.
Union, different
Exactly.
kind of
Trade union.
unions.
Yeah.
So union, so there is some authorized union in some organizations. They are authorized actually. So they are actually internal influence for the organization. Internal, they will be internal.
Okay.
But as a whole, if you tell labor union as a whole,
Yes.
or track labors, then that is actually political. That will be maybe under external factors and maybe political factors.
I mean, they are social pressure groups, so they will be
Social
termed as
pressure.
external.
Yeah. So everything you need to consider actually while you are
Yeah.
doing project.
Thank you.
So now let me discuss about the OPA, organizational process asset. So under organizational process asset, there are two types of things you need to consider as a project manager. All right. So first thing is the organizational existing processes, policies, and procedures. If there is any guideline that actually guide your project, the initiation, the planning, the execution, monitoring, control, and closing. If there is any guideline from your organization, then you must follow that. That is known as processes, policies, and procedures. And this is part of OPA from your organization. And another one is very clear to us, that is knowledge base. If you are having previous projects knowledge with us, that will help us to make good decisions and to do the project effectively and efficiently if we have the experience with us. Uh, there is 2 point here. If you see this first category, you cannot change actually through project. When you are doing project, generally you cannot change this because this is the organizational policy. As a project manager, you are not having any command on that. But organizational knowledge base, when you are doing anything, you are actually generating different kind of new knowledges, new knowledge, new files, new templates. So all will help to grow the organizational knowledge base. So the second point, you will see organizational process asset, this part, almost in all processes, all 49 processes, you will see that this thing is updated because you are generating lot of new knowledge, new files, new templates, new capabilities in your team. So that's why organizational process asset, this part is updated throughout 49 processes. So now I am actually discussing about process policies and procedures. So if you are having any guideline from your organization, while you are doing initiating and planning, if there is guideline, organizational standards that you must follow when you are running the project, then product lifecycle, project lifecycle is, if it is defined in your organization, then you have to follow that. If there is any template already exists in your organization for initiation, like project charter or different planning documents, if there is already set templates, then you should use those. Then pre-approved supplier list. In all mature and big organizations, they actually create the supplier list for a year or for a year or two. এক বছর বা 2 বছরের জন্য সাপ্লায়ার লিস্ট তৈরি করে। Then for those 2 years or 1 year, they actually take different kind of supplies, services, products, and purchase. They actually take everything from those pre-approved supplier lists. So these things you have to consider when you are doing initiating and planning. Then in executing, monitoring and controlling, if there is any change control procedure exists in your organization, you must follow that. Then traceability matrix, end-to-end tracing of all of your activities of the project. If there are any guideline in your organization, you have to follow that. Then financial control procedure, very, very critical. You cannot spend a single penny without following the organizational guideline, right? Single taka, single penny, you cannot spend. So you have to follow organizational guideline. And issue defect management procedure. If there is any set guideline, you have to follow them. So all things are, what does it mean? If your organization is having this kind of guideline framework, process policy procedure for your projects executing, monitoring and controlling, and event closing, then you should follow all those. Without following that, you should not do your project. So that is the bare minimum guideline for organizational process asset, power, processes, policies, and procedures. And organizational knowledge, please. Yes, please.
OPA is fundamentally, I mean, dealing with the internal things, right?
Right. Organizational internal things.
Suppose in a functional based organization, there is a project running. So for that particular project to run smoothly, they do have their own policies and procedure. In general, do they clash with the organizational policy? No. In general, what is your experience?
No, doesn't clash, because that actually subset of the organizational policy, governance, process, procedure. Generally, they doesn't clash. But if you start doing some project management practices, there is a standard from PMI, Organizational Project Management. There is a book. So if you start doing those kind of practice, if your organization was having any guideline related to project, then maybe there's some conflict may arise. And another thing I will discuss later, that most of the organization now try to adapt agile processes. So agile project management process is a lot different than the existing project management processes. So a lot of change management is required. Then maybe a lot of clash can come. So that you need to handle through slowly and through proper change management.
Okay.
So we are talking about organizational knowledge repositories. Already discussed. If you are having organizational knowledge base after doing any earlier projects, so that experience, that existing files, templates, you can reuse for your project, right? So this thing is known as knowledge repository or knowledge base, corporate knowledge base. Now the third thing that we will discuss, that is organizational systems. So we are at the I have shown you at the beginning, we will talk about three things in this chapter. One is EF, enterprise environmental factor. Second one is organizational processes. Third one is organizational systems. So what is organizational system? This topic actually may seem difficult because this is actually a part of the top management. How your organizational system will run the whole organization, that actually the part or responsibility of the top management, not project manager. Yes. But you have to understand how organizational system works and what are the main components of the organizational systems and what actually organizational system means. So let me give you an example. Say, for example, our body is a system. Our body is a system. Our hand, our face, our eye, our head, our mind, and our belly. So everything is working. This is a whole system. If there is any pain in your hand or in your finger, it doesn't mean that that finger only suffer. The whole body will suffer, right? So organizational system is the same thing. There is actually three component of organizational system. One is governance framework. Governance means the guideline how the organization will run their business, how employee will be recruited, then how employee salary will be paid, how you will do the procurement, and so all these things are governance framework. And so every organization is having a corporate governance framework. Following that governance framework, every organization runs their business. So that is one part of this organizational system. Then management elements. Every organization has organogram, right? So in that organization, it is mentioned who is reporting whom, the reporting structure, the communication structure, the commanding, the authority, the signatories, all you can understand from management elements. And organization can be flat type organization or bureaucratic type organization. Flat type organization means where hierarchy is lower hierarchy. But in bureaucratic organization, hierarchy is a lot of hierarchy is there. So generally bureaucratic organizations is slow in decision making. In flat organization, this decision making is very fast. Agile, when we will talk about Agile, you will see Agile actually promotes flat type organization so that they can take fast decision about anything related to project. So these many management elements is part of organizational systems. And third one is organizational structure. This thing I will discuss in detail, organizational systems, organizational structure types. So actually these three topics and organizational systems are newly introduced in 6th edition. It was not in the earlier versions. And it is actually taken from, if anyone has done MBA or BBA, there is a book, there is a book, organizational behavior. Organizational behavior. And in that book, in that course, actually, you will find this topic. So actually, this topic is taken from other discipline in PMBOK. This is not the part of PMBOK. It is taken from other disciplines. So as a project manager, you have to understand what are the impacts of these three things. So there is, I have already discussed about the organizational systems. You will get the definition here. For CAPM exam, you may get questions from definitions, but for PMP exams, you will not get any questions from definitions. All right. Organizational governance framework, how the overall organization will run. And that guideline, that framework, that process policy, that is known as actually organizational governance framework. And as I mentioned, that is actually the responsibility of the top management. And these are the part of governance framework. See, organizational rules, policies, procedures, organizational norms, relationships, all the organizational systems, procurement system, financial system, HR system, all are part of governance. All right. And PMI also having one standard, especially for governance of portfolio, program, and projects. A standard from PMI. If you want to establish in your organization the how you will manage portfolio, program, and projects in the organization, then this document, this publication can help you to establish the rules, guidance, and governance for your organizational portfolio, programs, and projects. All right. So if an organization having any project governance is also part of or subset of corporate governance. So if your organization is having any project governance established, so you have to follow that governance throughout your project. Okay. For example, uh, in government purchase, they follow PPR, public procurement regulations. You cannot purchase following this. You have to always follow this. So similarly, if your organization is having any governance framework, then when you will do initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, control, closing, everywhere you need to follow that project governance. You cannot skip that. Management elements. So already I have discussed management elements. That is actually the organogram, the organizational how the management structure is organized in your organization. For example, how the work are divided in organization. For example, in some organization, there are departments like this, marketing department. They are actually focusing on only marketing. Sales department, they are focusing on sales, right? IT is focusing on IT. So how the work is divided, that is part of management elements. Authority, who is having what kind of authority, responsibility, then disciplinary action. All right, if anything wrong happens, what will be the way to report and take action on that? Then unity of command, right? In private sector, if you see the unity of command, what happens? We generally very reluctant. Sometimes in our corporate houses, what we find, we call each other like bhai, yeah? মানে সিনিয়র ম্যানেজারকে আমরা বলি ভাই ভাই কেমন আছেন ভাই এটা বলেন ভাই এরকম বলি আমরা বা some places we use boss, right? But very reluctant actually. Yeah? But if you see that unity of command in army, Bangladesh army or forces, what will happen? A junior rank officer cannot sit in front of a senior rank officer, right? And if you see the Shoinik, the lower Shoiniks, they actually cannot argue with any officials. Even if you talk with them, you will see they will always talk, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. They will not show any argument or do any comment. But private sector, it doesn't happen. Private is very reluctant. We can argue with our managers, our seniors. We can talk frequently, we can sit. Nothing is actually restricted. But unity of command for army is different. In public sector is different. In private sector is different. So where you are doing project, so you have to consider all these things. If you're running a project in RB, then you have to know all these things, and you have to behave like that way. Then unity of direction. Is it high to low or low to high, or this is actually flat type organization? So these are the things you have to consider. Then see, there is an impact also paid fairly, right? If you are not paid fairly, what will happen? Say you are having 10 employees, but you are not paying them 2 months, 3 months salary, you have not paid. Then what will happen? Will they listen to your command? No. So you will see they are actually not behaving the similar way that they did earlier when you are regularly paying him or her. So these things are management elements. And also a lot of additional things mentioned here. like everywhere you have to actually use optimal resource. There is no abundant resource, and no organization will provide you abundant resource. So you have to always ensure that you are using and optimizing the resources. Clear communication channel you have to follow. So all these things are part of management elements. As a project manager, you have to understand this, you have to know this, so that you can behave this way when you are running the projects. And finally, I will talk about organizational structure. So this is the last topic, not last topic. So this is the important topic of this chapter, organizational structure type. This is actually taken from organizational behavior book or management book. Now this is the core thing from PMBOK. They actually taken this from other disciplines. So what is actually organizational structure? Let me, this is the table that before using the table, let me use my whiteboard. So generally, today the organizations we are seeing, the organization means the private sectors, public sector, or other organizations. So everywhere we will see, we can divide the organization based on their structure mainly in three categories. One is functional type organization, functional, right? Another one is projectized organization, projectized, or project oriented organization. Project, I am writing here projectized organization. And third one is matrix organization. So any organization you see in Bangladesh or anywhere, you see they will fall under any one of these. Functional organization, projectized organization, or matrix organization. So what actually does it mean? Functional type organization means based on functions, based on work, the organization is divided into different departments. For example, in functional organizations, the marketing department is only focusing on marketing. The IT department is only focusing on IT. The finance department only focusing on IT, finance. So there are silos in this type of organizations, right? All are silos. So this is the picture of functional type organization. So government, what happened in government organization? The Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Planning, different ministries, they are actually doing their job only. They are focusing on their assigned jobs, on their assigned mandate. They are not focusing on other things. So those are the example of functional type organization. What is projectized organization? Projectized actually at the most extreme part of functional organization. Projectized means this organization actually runs based on the project. For example, say if I talk about in Bangladesh, for example, Samsung R&D, right? You know, I think you all know that there is a research and development organization of Samsung in Bangladesh. So their organization structure is divided based on the project. One department is Android department, Android. Android, the activity of Android department is only focusing on the Android projects. Another department is there, they are actually focusing on the Windows project. All project related to Windows machines, Windows mobile. All right. So they are actually structured following the project, not the function, following the project, type of project. Matrix organization is the middle. They are not projectized, not functional. They are actually combination of these two. All right, they're following some functional type structure, again following some project type structure. So most of the organizations are actually matrix type organization, because when in a functional organization project runs, then actually it for its administrative work, it follows functional type structure, but it project type of management, it follows projectized organization structure. So matrix is the middle, in the middle. Okay, now I am going to dig deeper here. Matrix organization can be divided into three parts.
Sir,
Matrix
may I
organization,
ask you a question?
yes.
So, sir, what is the difference between projectized and functional? As you mentioned it, they all do the same thing, because this is as divided groups just are doing the different works. And here also same like projectized and functional. So, what is the main difference?
Hmm. Main difference, it is actually depend about business functions, but it depends about projects. If you are not having any project in your organization, your organization will not exist.
So
Then
it's almost the same. It is dependent on the projective whether it will work for the functional or projectized or matrix.
this one and this one same you're saying,
Does
Abdullah?
that does that mean I mean just the both functional and the project is dependent on the project, dependent on the organization. I mean the organization whether the project manager uses the functional or
Mhm.
projectized.
As a project manager, what will happen that I will discuss later on. Just I am just defining the different kind of structures. But when you are a project manager in functional type organization, what will happen? You are not the actually lead person for this project, because the functional heads, they are actually top of you. You have to report your functional manager. But when you are a project manager in project type organizations, I will show you that then you have the authority. You have the control on your budget, on your resource, on your administrative stuff. You are having full control. But here you will not have full control. Full control is having with the functional heads,
Okay,
not the project manager.
understand, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that I will show you when I will explain the table. And metric organization, there are three types. One is weak matrix, weak. Another is a strong matrix, and the middle is balanced matrix. Balanced matrix. A strong matrix means what? That is actually close to projectized organizations. Weak matrix is what? That is actually close to functional type organization. And balanced matrix is in the middle. Not weak, not strong. It is in the middle ground. All right. So just understand the definition. Now let me explain the table. Then you will understand what is the impact of these structures on the project manager. If you are working in a functional organization, then what kind of authority you are having, what kind of control you are having. Then again, if you are working in a project organization, then you will see how much authority, then control over budget and other things you are having. That we'll see on the table. So I am closing this and opening that presentation slide again to explain. Let's see. Yeah. So can you see the table?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, fine. So let me see. Explain here. Okay. So what we are seeing. So project characteristic, right? Project characteristic at the top. What are the characteristic? This is actually the definition. This is the characteristic. Project manager's authority, project manager's role, resource availability, project budget, and project management administrative staff. And if you see here, this is the functional organization, right? That I discussed. Then this is the projectized or project-oriented organization. And these three are matrix organization. One is strong another one is weak, third one is balanced. So I discussed these 5 structures, right? You see, these are the structures here. So these 3, this is actually organic or simple structure. Simple means there are only 5, 6, or 10 employees, very small organization. So that is actually organic or simple structure type organization. Functional organization, that is medium type of organization. Say there are 100 employees or 200 employees. And multi-divisional organization, that is actually big enterprises like Robi, Grameen Phone, Bangladesh government. So these are actually multi-divisional functional type organization. All right. And so if you see here, project managers authority in project-oriented organization, high to almost total. Have you seen this? If you are a project manager in project-oriented organization, your authority will be almost total. Project manager's role will be full-time. Then resource availability, you will get all your resource. Resource means people resource and other resources. Everything will be within your grip, within your control. Who manages the project budget? Project budget managed by the project manager. And the administrative staff that help the project manager, they are full-time for the project manager. Right? But if you see the functional, see here, the functional, what happens here? Little or none. Project manager authority is little or none. Authority goes to the functional heads, not the project manager. Then project manager role is part-time, not full-time even. Resource availability, little or none. And who manages the project budget? Functional managers, not the project manager. Here the project manager, but here functional manager, just opposite. And here administrative staff help project manager full-time, but here only part-time. All right. But if you see the middle here, matrix organizations. So if you see the weak matrix, see weak matrix, as I mentioned, it is similar to the functional type organization. See, part-time, budget is to the functional manager, availability low. But if you see the strong type, this one is strong type, you see all these are related near to this type of organization, project type organization, project-oriented organization. Okay. And the median one, the balanced one, right? Balanced one. That is activity completion. Low to moderate. Part-time, low to moderate. Mixed. That means you are having some kind of control over your budget. And your administrative staff, they are part-time. So there are mixed actually. So balanced metrics. So now let me put a question to you. If you are a project manager, if you want to be a project manager in this type of different type of organizational structure organizations, then as a project manager, what type of organization you will prefer? You want to work in what type of organizations? If you are given chance to select, what type of organization you will select?
Project-based.
Project-based, right? Project-oriented, because you are all in all in this kind of projects. So you are having lot of control, a lot of authority, lot of responsibility. So you will always prefer this kind of project organizations, right? But unfortunately, this type of organizations is not that many, right? But now a lot of organizations are actually becoming project-oriented organizations or project-driven organizations. And sometimes we hear, a lot of times we hear that Microsoft sacked, say, 10,000 employees. Intel sacks 50,000 employees. Why this happens? Because maybe Intel are not having any project now related to those manpower. So there is no project, that means there is no need of the project manager and the project team. So project-oriented organizations, one of the risks is no home. Sometimes we mention it as no home. No home means if you are not having any project, you are not having any home. You will lose your job. But in functional type organizations, maybe you are not having any project, but you are having a lot of operational job to do. Right? So then you can survive. But in project type organization, you cannot survive. So that is the risk of project organization oriented organizations. Now, see there are three other things here, virtual. This is new normal for us now, right? Due to COVID, now we are all working virtually. So somehow in this COVID situation, this actually now become more prominent, and we have understood how virtual office works, right? And hybrid actually, another type of structure is hybrid. That means maybe project oriented plus functional type organization. So these are actually hybrid type organization. And last one is PMO. What does it mean by PMO? Can anyone say PMO means what?
Project management by organization.
Anyone else? PMO. This term we discussed a lot of times in PMO. PMO means Project Management Office. Project Management Office. This is in Bangladesh. In all the telecoms, in all the banks, there is a separate department named as PMO, Project Management Office, right? And you also know that Prime Minister's Office, PMO. In Bangladesh situation, PMO means Prime Minister's Office. So PMO is a one kind of organizational structure where there is a separate department known as PMO. PMO means there are functional organizations, marketing, finance, procurement, sales, as well as there is a new department known as PMO. The responsibility of PMO is managing centrally all the projects that are running in the organization. When there is a PMO, there will be the central body to manage all the projects that need to run in different type of different departments that now will be run by the PMO, Project Management Office. So this is PMI actually always trying to promote PMO office as a new department, because if there is no PMO office, then there are no central body who are actually managing or unifying all the projects running in an organization. In a small organization, you can easily manage projects, but if you're in a big organizations, then if there is no PMO, then there is no actually central management of your projects. Then what happens? Maybe one project is running in marketing, similar kind of project may be running in finance. But if there is a body, PMO office, then they can actually collaboratively can do this project. But as there is no department like this, so now the same thing is done by two separate departments. What happens then? Time wasted, money wasted, these things can happen. So that's why if we are having a PMO office, then there are a lot of good things can happen. One of the responsibility of PMO office to provide project governance, to provide project standards, provide training to all the project managers. Then they will supply the project managers. All project managers will in the PMO office. They actually, if there is any project initiated in anywhere in the organization, PMO office will provide the project manager from their office. And they are the actually experienced project manager. So they can manage the projects more effectively, more efficiently. And project PMO office can work as a mentor, work as a coach, work as a trainer for other departments related to project management. And they can develop templates, different kind of files, so that the same template, same project files can be used over and over again. So this way, PMO, project manager office, can have a great impact in the organizations. That's why in most of the modern organizations, especially those are technologically big organizations, sound organizations, they are actually promoting and having, almost everyone is having PM office now, project management office. So in this chapter, there are 2-3 slides related to project management office. So then actually I discuss more detail, but the brief already I discussed here. Okay. So we have seen there are available, there are a lot of 9, 10 kind of organizational structures are available in the market. So if you're given responsibility or if you're in the top management, then based on your business and based on these kind of factors, I am not discussing this slide in detail. So if you have that authority, or if you are in the top management, then these things you can consider to choose the organizational structure for your business, for your organization. What kind of organizational structure do you prefer? So it will depend how you are doing your business. If your business is solely depend on the projects, then maybe you will follow the project-oriented organizations type structure. But if you are not focusing, not project-oriented, maybe you are doing just operational job, then maybe functional or matrix organization can be helpful. So, and also you have to uh, check and balance with this factor, and you have to choose the organizational structure that best fit with your organization. So last slide on organizational structure. So what we have seen, if you see this graph, this is figure. So what it means, from functional to matrix, then project-oriented organizations. As a project manager, yes, your authority, control over budget, control over resource allocation, then your responsibility, all actually like this graph, it actually increases, broaden or widen from functional to project-oriented organizations. So if you have chance to work in project-oriented organizations, then you will get lot of authority, lot of control here. But in this place, you will not get that control. So that table actually summarizes here. So at the lower end, you are having lot of low control, low authority, low budget control. You are not having control over resource, but here you are having most of the control with you as a project manager. So PMO office, I think already we have discussed about PMO office, project management office, right? So PMO office can be 3 types. This slide is very interesting. PMO office can be 3 types. So when we are introducing a new department named as PMO office, then actually there are 3 types of PMO office we can establish in an organization. First one is supportive. Supportive PMO means as a department, we will just work as a consultant or advisor. We will just provide consultative role, supply templates, share best practices, give training, provide training to the project team, and also we will maintain project repository. Repository means storing all the records, files with us. So this kind of supportive PMO, the degree of control is very low, right? Second one is controlling type PMO. So if you have opportunity to establish a controlling type PMO, and PMO is sometimes it is actually known as CEO's office. PMO reports directly to CEO, because PMO is managing all the projects of the organization. So if you don't give PMO authority, then it cannot work actually. So that's why in new organizations, when any PMO is they are trying to establish new or department as PMO, then actually they uh, directly report to CEO, and actually CEO directly sponsor PMO office. Then they get the authority. So controlling means you will give support plus conformance. How do you conform? That means you are providing framework, methodologies, and templates, forms and tools, and you have also the authority and control to check and back that whether all the teams are using your framework templates or not. So if you are having greater control, so you are giving support plus you are confirming that all the documents, all the framework, all the advice you are given to your project team, they are following that or not. So that kind of PMO office is moderate kind of PMO office. And last kind of PMO office, which should be the dream of all the project managers, that is directive type PMO office. When PMO office directly manage projects. All right. So PMO office, any projects starts anywhere in the organization, PMO office take the responsibility. They provide project manager and they run the show, show of the project management. So when this kind of PMO established in any organization, then that is known as directive PMO. So at that time, whole control is with that kind of PMO. That's why it is high degree of control, because they are managing end to end of the project. All right. So any question here? So supporting will only give support, help. Controlling, they will support, plus they will confirm whether people are following your framework or not. And directive means PM office will manage all the projects directly. So now,
is there any standard guideline that if you have this number of projects or programs or portfolio, then you have to have this kind of PM office? Is there any rule of thumb in the?
There is no rule of thumb, but what I understand from here, and what sometimes I explain, that when you will start, PMO office is a big change in the organization. When you try to establish any PMO office, lot of challenges will come. Lot of people will actually not accept this big change, because what happens now, as an organization, different departments, they are doing projects. They are supplying project manager from their own department. But when they are going to centrally manage project, then what will happen? Project manager will come from PM office, and PM office will every time bug you, every time ask for different reports. They will push you. They will impose different kind of frameworks, different kind of governance. So this change is very difficult to accept. That's why in Bangladesh, there are some cases happen. Say, I know that in a bank, initially it failed actually. The total PM office failed because the clash between the PM office and the existing project managers or other departmental heads. Yeah. So what I prefer that first actually start slow, start supporting. Whenever start PM office to support everyone.
Yes.
Train them, give forms, help them, advise them, mentor them, coach them. Don't impose anything, just help them. When you will get good support from others and they will understand and get the benefits from PM office, then try to go to the second level. Now you start developing framework, methodologies, and now you push them. Please follow this framework because this is the best practice. Then follow our templates so that everything is synergized in the organization. So then you can actually practice this second level. Then when you are having much experience and already PMO office acceptance is there, then now you take over the projects.
Yeah.
I think this way, if you move this way, then PMO, the change management can be easily possible. But if you start from here, I think you will fail.
Yeah, that's certainly going to fail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this picture is very interesting. So what is the main focus or main functionality of PMO? They are actually bridge between the strategy, organizational strategy, and value delivery. Right? This is a very nice picture. So PMO, the responsibility of PMO office is they are the bridge between the strategy and value delivery. All right. So what PMO office does, I have already discussed. Let me summarize here: managing shared resources across all projects, identifying and developing project management methodology, practice, and standards, coaching, mentoring, training, giving or providing oversight, monitoring, compliance, doing project audits, then developing and managing project policies, procedure, templates, and documentation so that your organization can use that. Then coordinating communications across projects. So then projects will coordinated by the PM office. There will be no silos. So what happens in government sector, if you see in government sector, most probably we all are frustrated seeing that today one road is dug by one department, say WAPDA. Next month another department is coming, say Titas Gas, and they are again digging the same road in the same place because not there is no not having coordination between the ministries.
Complete discoordination. Yeah.
So see if there just only the communication coordination is there, then how much money or budget we can save in our country if you can see that. So this is the benefit of PM office. So if the government have that kind of PM office, which will coordinate everything, all the projects of all the ministries, then I think half of the money can be saved.
Yeah.
Truly, what that I feel actually, half of the money we can save, and we can utilize that money somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. So now we will go for a break, and after the break, we will start another chapter that is related to project manager. As a project manager, what kind of competency we have to have, that we'll discuss after break. So now I'm going for 10 minutes break. Okay, so let's start now. Let me share my screen. So can you see my YouTube page?
जी भैया.
All right, so let's see this video. Can you hear the sound?
No.
Video sound, can you see? No.
It's not audible. Not
audible. Okay.
No.
Okay. Not my video. All right. Okay, just see the video. Sound is not important. Let's see the video. So that guy who is moving this stick in this orchestra, okay. So the guy who is running this show, this man, very famous guy. So in this orchestra, he is known as actually conductor, right? So when he moving, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's right. So conductor, when he's moving his sticks and hands, all the musicians, they are actually following that. All right. So can anyone tell me this guy, this conductor, this guy, do he know to play all the instruments? This guy, what do you think?
স্যার জানেও আবার উনি ডিরেকশনও দিতে পারেন।
There are almost more than 50, now more than 50, almost 100, most probably 100 musicians are here, and they are playing different kind of instruments. This conductor actually doesn't know to run all the instruments. It is very difficult. You will see some expert who actually can run 2, 3, or 4, maybe 5 instruments, but it is very difficult to learn to play 50 instruments, right? But he is the conductor. Following his direction, everyone is actually playing his instrument, and that actually producing a music, the orchestra, that is actually the divine kind of thing. Those who actually enjoy. So as a project manager in PMBOK, we are just going to start a new chapter, that is the role of the project manager. So the role of the project manager is like this conductor. He will lead the whole team. He actually doesn't know every skill required. Everything his team is working, he actually not expert for everything. But at least he know who is doing what. This conductor actually at least know which instrument actually produce what kind of sound, what kind of music. He actually understand, but maybe he don't know how to play. So as a project manager, you have to understand your team, which team is doing what, and what you are actually expecting from team, that you have to understand. So project manager is like a conductor of an orchestra who actually lead the whole orchestra. So project manager is like this. So let me share my PowerPoint slide. So can you see my PowerPoint slide? Can you see? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So when you start this chapter, you will see an example of this conductor and orchestra thing. All right. So project manager is actually like the conductor of the orchestra. So he is actually behind the scene. He is working for the project to get the targeted result by involving and doing the teamwork with his team. One of the important skill project manager should have, that is actually delegation. How should you delegate to others? Okay, and how you make others to work for you. That is the delegation. So that is a difficult technique in our country, in our culture. We actually also cannot don't know actually how to delegate and how to get job done by others. So project manager is a leader. Project manager, though the word we are using here, manager, but not most of the places we actually say this project leader. There are difference between manager and leader, right? Manager actually who actually follow the status quo. Status quo means existing things, but leader actually challenges the status quo. They want to do new things. He is the visionary man who motivate others. But manager, most of the managers, they actually don't know how to motivate the team. But leaders, they are actually different. They lead from the front. So this chapter is a new chapter. This chapter in the earlier versions, this chapter was not there. But first time this chapter was introduced because there was a demand in the market that the project manager should do what? What are the skills project manager should have? What are the competency project manager should have? Because we know that there is a scarcity of leadership, good project managers in the whole world. That's why projects are sleeping. In terms of budget, time, everywhere projects are actually facing different type of problems. And we are wasting a lot of money, lot of time, because skilled project managers and project people are not there. So as a project manager, what competency should you have to be a good project manager? So there is a demand in the market about this. So that's why PMBOK actually introduced this chapter. There is a separate document known as PMCDF. If you're a member of PMI, then you can download this document, PMCDF, Project Managers Competency Development Framework. So that document actually exists more than 10 years in the market, but that was not part of PMBOK. That is a separate document, more than 100 pages. So in that document, actually PMI, they actually identify what type of competency a project manager should have and how you will build your competency. And there are interesting things like this, that how you will identify the gap analysis, whether your project management skill is up to the mark or is there any, what is the gap and how you will fill up that gap. So this PMCDF document was there for more than 10 years, but this chapter is first introduced in 6th edition. And most of the things actually taken from this document, PMCDF document. All right, so what I mentioned here, project manager is not manager only. He is actually a combination of management and leadership skills. And actually, we are actually more focusing on leadership skill of the project manager, not only management skill. We want to see the leader in the project manager, not the manager. Yes, of course, you have to have the management skill, but we want to see more leadership skill from the project manager. So you got me? So as a project manager, you have to be good leaders. All right. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Sorry to কথা বলি নাইলে আসলে বোঝা যাচ্ছে না।
Okay, sir.
I am in dark. So let's start with the question as usual. In every chapter, I am starting with a question. Who is project manager? What does he do? Project manager কি করে? Does he do anything? Let me share an experience with you. Most probably in 2011, I took a project management class in GPIT, Gramin Phone IT. Now it is not, no more in Bangladesh. So GPIT. So at that training, there are almost 20 students from GPIT. So they were not project managers. They are actually working under the project manager. So why they are taking this project management training? They are actually all interested to be project manager. So in the first class, when I asked them what project manager does, then most of them answered, project manager doesn't do anything. He just ordered every one of us and we do most of the work he just give the presentation to the directors or senior guys, and he personally praised by the board or praised by the stakeholders, but nobody knows us. But we are doing all the things, but project manager is the guy who is actually praised by the others, and everyone know him, not us. So they were mentioning that project manager doesn't do anything. What do you feel? What you're thinking on this?
জি না স্যার, প্রজেক্ট ম্যানেজার অনেক কিছুই তাকে কাজ করতে হয় স্যার, অনেক কিছুই করতে হয়।
মানে in open eye, বা সাদা চোখে আসলে আমরা, if you see project manager is not doing anything.
Sir,
what does it?
He does, actually, he does, because of as they claim and he did the coordination and combination between them, and also he gives the order to utilize from the resource data and the company has, and also he does the coordination between them, controlling, monitoring, and he does everything, and also function.
So that's the thing. Sometimes it is seen that most probably project managers are not doing anything. He is actually just ordering, he is leading others, he is delegating others. He is not personally doing anything. Maybe he is not doing any project work. He is not doing any programming, not doing any coding, not doing any designing. So it seems that he is not doing anything. But the main thing is he is the core person. And he is actually sitting at the center. He is integrating everything. If that person is not there, there will be no result from the project. So the project integration management, we discussed in the last class, project integration management. This integration management knowledge area mainly focusing on the project manager. This knowledge area belongs to project manager. His job is to integrating everything. All right. So project manager is the key person in the project, and PMI actually give huge emphasis on project manager. And project management job, that means integration. So project manager's main job is what? In single word, it is integration management, right? Right? No, সবাই কথা বলতে হবে একটু,
Yes, sir.
Integration management is the main job of the project manager. Now question is, can integration management can project manager delegate this integration management to others? Can integration management is delegated to others? Can project manager do this?
Yes, sir.
Project can.
Yeah,
Yes or no?
Maybe he can give special authority, special people to do something, special task.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, it is actually no, sir. No. Integration management is the role of the project manager. That's why you are selected as project manager. If you delegate this to others, then why we need you? So exactly. Integration management is the role, is the responsibility solely to the project manager, and this role cannot be delegated to others. You have to yourself do this. Right. Okay, so let's discuss. Let's start the chapter. So as a project manager, this is a critical role in project management, and this is the core role. So what you need to do, you have to understand the musicians, in orchestra, the musicians, those who are playing different kind of instruments. You have to understand their roles, what they are producing, what they are doing, and what is the best, and how to get that best out of them. So that you have to understand. Then responsibility for the team. What is your responsibility for your team? To remove impediment, to facilitate, to training, to coach, to do everything for your team so that they can work smoothly for your project. And you have to have the knowledge and skills. Otherwise, nobody will hear you. Nobody will listen you, right? Nobody will listen if you have not having project management knowledge and skills, right? So these are the core things as a project manager you should have. So what is the definition of project manager? There is this definition is very nice. What is the definition? The project manager is the person assigned by the performing organization. Performing organization means the organization who is doing the project to lead the team. See, lead, not manage. Have you seen this? Not manage. To lead the team that is responsible for achieving project objectives. What is project objective? The business value, right? So this is the definition of project manager. Very nice definition. So you have to be, when you are a project manager, you have to focus on your team, you have to lead, and also you have to try. You have to try utmost to achieve the project objectives. So project manager are different than functional manager or operational managers. Functional managers focuses on providing management oversight for a function or business unit. What does operations manager do? They are responsible for ensuring business operations are efficient. So we have to understand what actually project manager's role. This is the definition of project managers. But this is typically in functional organizations, we see functional managers, and typically sound is coming. There is sound coming. Who's কারো বাসা বোধহয় একদম রাস্তার সাথে নাকি? All right, so this is the definition of project manager, and this is the definition of operational manager and functional managers. So we are understanding that project manager role and definition is different than the functional managers and operational managers. Now this is an interesting figure here. The project manager's sphere of influence. So see, project manager belongs to here at the core, right? So immediately in this circle you see, these are the stakeholders, these are the teams or players who are having most influence on project manager. Who are they? First is the project team, the team you are working with. So as a project manager, they are having impact on you, influence on you. Again, as a project manager, most impact, influence you should have on your project team. Then the resource manager. Who are resource manager? Can anyone tell? Who are resource managers?
স্যার যেখানে একটা যে কোনো প্রয়োজনীয় জিনিস মানে প্রোভাইড করে ম্যানেজ করা
Right. The people, say from human resource department or procurement department, who will actually provide resources for your project. So without their help, you cannot do anything actually, because you need resource, you need your people. So that people, that resource will be given by your resource managers. So they are with close in your close circle. And this third one, have you seen this PPP managers? Can anyone say this? What is PPP managers?
Policy, procedure, process.
Process manager, procedure managers. No, this type of terms are not there in organizations. What can be? Sadman, ki hote pare eta? Sadman. This 3P means what?
What's the question, sir? I didn't hear. What's the question?
Question is, what does this PPP means? PPP managers means what? PPP managers means portfolio manager, program manager, and project managers. So here, when you are dealing with projects, you have to work with your peer project managers, with your program managers, with your portfolio managers. All right. So that is known as PPP managers. Then in the outer circle, next outer circle, you are having sponsors. Who are sponsors? Can anyone say who is a sponsor or who are sponsors?
Spend the budget.
Yes,
Yeah.
those who actually provide budget,
Yeah.
those who finance.
Yeah.
So he is the key stakeholder, right? Then governing bodies, your organization's governing bodies and your country's governing bodies. Steering committee. If there is any steering committee, they actually sit top of the project management team. So they will guide you. Then PMO. We discussed PMO. PMO means
Project management office.
yes, project management office. So if there is project management office in your organizations, you have to always coordinate with them. They will influence you, and you have to also influence them. And then last in outer circle, you see end users. End users means for whom you are building the product, service, or result, for whom you are doing the projects. End users or customer. There is, can anyone say what is the difference between customer and end user?
আর এন্ড ইউজারটা হচ্ছে যে মানে যার পরে আর কেউ থাকে না, এন্ড ইউজার মানে ও সর্বশেষ ইউজ করবে। আর কাস্টমার হচ্ছে স্যার একটা যদি অর্গানাইজেশন থাকে ও কিনে নিয়ে আসবে আবার ও আবার অন্য জায়গায় বেচতে পারে, সেটা হচ্ছে কাস্টমার অর্গানাইজেশনে।
Okay. So customers and end users not necessarily the same people. For example, maybe UNDP doing a project for 60 villages of Bangladesh, right? So UNDP is the customer because they are running the project, but the end users are the villagers of those 60 villages. Okay. Suppliers, very important. Supplier is very important. Supplier or vendor, because they are actually key. They are your partners. Now suppliers are more considered as partners of your business, because if they don't give you proper support, you cannot do anything, because a lot of things you have to purchase from the market, material, different kind of material, different kind of resource. So your supplier should be with you. Okay, and stakeholders means all these are stakeholders. So plus other stakeholders, if there are any other stakeholder, they are also having influence on you. And you as a project manager, you also have some responsibility on all the spheres, all the stakeholders. Okay, so this
And according to the difference between the end users and customers, end users are the people that are utilizing or those are using my delivery of the project.
right.
Product of okay, customer. If I have a company, there's a customer service. I'm saying my customers. Also, customers, can we say it's also a difference same to the end user?
Yes, customer and end user can be same. Sometimes can be same, but sometimes they can be different. All right. So if an organization is taking any software or any product, so they are the end user also. They are customer and also end user.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so project manager should do what? As a project manager, with the project team, with your peers, at the project, related to project, you have to these kind of things. You have to balance between all the project team's expectation. Then you have to communicate with all the stakeholders related to the project, and you have to work with the stakeholders to achieve the project objectives. And you as a project manager working in an organization, right? So you have to work with your organizations. You have to influence the organization for different activities, and also you have to follow organization policy, procedure, guideline as a project manager. And what knowledge you are getting, tacit knowledge, and knowledge are two types, right? Tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge. So any kind of knowledge you are gathering from this project, you should transfer that knowledge to your organization, so that your organization organizational knowledge base can be increased, and that knowledge can be shared within other projects, other project managers, project team members, so they can be benefited. Then the industry, as a project manager, maybe you are a project manager of construction project. So if you gain or learn anything related to when you are doing project, maybe you have learned something new, then you have to share that with your industry. And also as a project manager, you have to keep yourself updated with the industry trend. If you cannot fall behind of the industry trend. So in the industry you are working, so you are in the IT industry. So you have to understand and know and update of the industry, so that you are in the right path, right place. Then professional discipline. So if you are working in a profession, if you have any capacity for working voluntarily, or you can share any knowledge with the professional discipline, you can share that. And also you can share your knowledge across discipline. All right, not only construction field, you may share that same knowledge with others, so that other discipline people, they can also be benefit from your knowledge. So this is the main slide, the main thing of this chapter. This is known as PMI talent triangle. PMI talent triangle. If you want to be a good project manager, you have to have these three type of competency with you. First competency is you have to have leadership quality. All right. Then technical project management skill. So 1, 2, 3. Third one is strategic and business management. So what does it mean? This iron PMI triangle means, that means to be a good project manager, to be a better project manager, you have to have leadership skill. You have to have technical project management skill. What is technical project management skill? That means what are the processes, tools, techniques, process groups to manage a project, how to tailor them, how to use in different situations, different tools and techniques. So that project management technical knowledge you must have to run a project, to be a good project manager. And as we know, through project, what we do, we actually execute a strategy of the organization, right? So you have to understand the strategic objective of the organization, strategy of the organization. And also you have to understand different business factors, like how to make contract. You have to understand finance, you have to understand negotiation, you have to understand sales, you have to understand marketing. As a project manager, the organization is doing different kind of business. As a project manager, you have to have that kind of knowledge with you. That domain knowledge you have to have. So project manager not only have to have the project management knowledge, you have to have leadership skills, you should have strategic and business management skills. So these are the three things you have to be a better project manager. Okay. And as a project manager, what I mentioned, you have to be a good leader. So leadership skills actually consist of mainly three things. One is dealing with people. How we will deal with your people, your team. So those who are actually good at dealing people, they are actually more successful than the hardcore project managers. So it doesn't, maybe our soft skill and hard skill boli na, sometimes we say hard skill. What is hard skill? Or another one is soft skill. So project manager not only have to have hard skill, more than hard skill, you will need soft skill. How to deal with people in different situations, how to make them motivated, how to influence them, how to negotiate, right? Then how to make people work for you. So these things you have to have with you. This is known as dealing with people. Second thing is qualities and skills of a leader. In the next class, we will discuss what is the difference between leader and manager. And in PMBOK, you will see one page talking about different kind of qualities and skills a leader should have. So as a project manager, you have to have those kind of skills and qualities with you. So if you are not having that kind of skill or qualities or competency, so you have to try to learn those skills. Otherwise you cannot be good project manager. And third one is politics, power and getting things done. Very important. Politics. Politics is bad thing, right? Or good thing? This politics is good thing or bad thing?
Good thing.
দুইটাই
Good
স্যার,
thing.
দুই
Good
দিকেই
thing.
আপনি যেভাবে কাজে লাগাবেন সেভাবেই হবে।
All right. So both have pros and cons. Bad part or good part. So politics. This politics is talking about countries' politics, world politics, and also talking about corporate politics. You know, in organization there is also a lot of politics going on inside, right? There are a lot of groupings. So you have to know the situation, understand the situation. How, what kind of groups in your organization, who are in which group, how they are working. So this kind of knowledge you have to have. Otherwise, maybe you will talk something wrong with a group that will actually create a lot of disturbance or a lot of problem in the organization. And if you make people your enemy, you cannot do anything in your organization. You cannot get any help for your project. So you have to understand the internal politics of your organization, and also you have to keep your eye open of the global politics or your country's politics. Especially if you are a government project manager, so you have to understand the government politics. And power, who is now in chair, that you have to understand. Very important. So PMBOK actually talked about all this, because as a project manager, you will face all this power and politics of the organization. So in human resource chapter, in human resource course, in BBA and BA, you will see there is a chapter, right? Power and politics of the organization. So you have to understand your organization's power and politics. And the last thing is getting things done, that I actually mentioning again and again. So as a project manager, one of the main thing is you have to delegate and you have to involve people, involve your team, and you have to get work done by your team. So getting things done, that is another important skill you must have. You will see there are some people who can do anything by the people they are leading. But there are some people who can't order someone or lead people to do anything. So to be a good, successful project manager, you have to have this skill, getting things done by other people. It is a difficult skill. So let me discuss about the difference between management and leadership. Okay. This thing actually, again, this is actually not solely or unique to PMBOK. This is actually taken from other management books. If you search management versus leadership in internet, you will get a lot of information. So let me just discuss about these things. What managers do, they actually direct using positional power. They lead their team with their positional power. I'm your boss, so you follow me, you do this. But leadership, those who are leaders, they actually guide, influence, and collaborate using relational power. Very important, relational power. If you have good relation with your team, then you can do anything you want. But if you are not having good relation, then maybe people will, for your position, they will work for you, but at the behind, they also scold you or call your names. But if you have relational power, then you can do a lot of things by your team. So as a leader, you have to focus on relational power. Maintain Managers generally maintain the existing things, but leaders, they try to develop. Then administrate, but leaders, they innovate. Focus on systems and structure. Leaders focus on relationships with people. People factor. There is a book, How Google Works. Anyone here read that book? How Google Works? If you boita person, How Google Works.
Na bhaiya.
So this is written by Eric Schmidt, CEO of Google. So the main thing he mentioned, in Google, there is no actually that kind of organogram structure. Even a programmer, junior programmer can directly ask question to the owners of Google at any time, any question, anything. So what actually, how they manage the whole organization, that is actually relationship with the people. Main technique of their management is relationships. All right. So all the modern organizations, they are actually following this kind of leadership skills, relationship with the people. Rely on control. Management or managers, they rely on control. They try to control everything. But leaders, they actually inspire trust. Please remember, in Agile, this trust is very important. Trust. If you cannot trust anyone, you cannot delegate any work to anyone if you don't trust. So trust is very, very important. Managers generally focus on near-term goals, but leaders, they're visionaries, they focus on long-term goals. Manager asks how and when, right? But leaders ask what and why. হ্যাঁ, বাচ্চারা কি প্রশ্ন করে? বাচ্চারা খেয়াল করছেন? The kids, they always ask why, right? And this way they actually learn a lot of things. So as a person, if you lose interest on why this is happening, why I will learn this, then you actually stuck somewhere. You cannot improve yourself. So this asking tendency and why questioning is very, very important. You have to ask in different situation important and hard questions. So doing thought-provoking hard questions is not easy. Focus on bottom line. Can anyone say what is focus on bottom line? What is bottom line? Can anyone say?
বটম লাইন বলা বোঝাতে স্যার বেসিক যেটা সেটার কথা যেটা চাচ্ছেন।
No. What is bottom line?
Profitability.
Profitability. Bottom line actually financial. Bottom line means managers, they actually only focus on organizational profit. They will not focus on people. They will only focus on benefit. I have to achieve the target, achieve the sales targets or profit target. They will actually just focus on the shareholders' benefit. They will not look what the condition of their people. Are they motivated? Are they benefited? They will not focus on that. But see here, leaders, they actually focus on the horizon. You understand horizon? That means they actually focus on people, the people they are dealing with. So they are trying to promote and motivate, ensure benefit of their team. If a motivated team works with you, then they can do amazing things. But if the team is apathetic means they are not actually see the interest of your organizations. They are not interested in the improvement or development of your organization. Then you cannot do good things with this team. Then accept status quo. What is status quo? Can anyone say what is status quo?
No, sir.
Status quo. Accept Managers only accept status quo. Status quo means existing procedure, policies, existing guidelines. But leaders, they actually challenge status quo. They try to improve. Right? They try to innovate. They try to introduce new things. So they try to do change. So managers only following the status quo, but leaders, they are challenging the status quo. Manager, they do things right, but leaders do the right things. Do the right things. Focus on operational issues and problem solving, but leaders, they actually focus on vision, alignment, motivation, and inspiration of the team. So which one is better, leader or manager? Huh? Manager better, like a leader better. Which one is better, manager or leader?
এক্ষেত্রে স্যার লিডারই বোঝাচ্ছে কিন্তু দুইজনের দুই ক্ষেত্রেই দরকার।
Yeah. So for project management, actually, as a project manager, you should have both skill. You have to have management skill because in some situations, some cases, you have to have management skills with you, and also you have to have leadership skills with you. So you need the combination. Plus, if you see the first sentence here, the project managers need to employ both leadership and management in order to be successful. So though we are understanding leader is the better, but in some cases we also focus on the management things also. All right. So the combination of both these things, the best of both these things will give best results. So what will be our aim? From now on, we will try to be a good leader. All right. So our focus will be on leadership, to growing our leadership skill, because there are actually lacking in leadership skill in everywhere. There are not that many leaders in different organizations and also in the country. All right. So as a leader, as a project manager, we are talking that project manager should be leader. So there are different kind of leadership style exists in the at present in the world. So these styles of leadership, I am talking here, this thing, I will go back again to this style, I will come back. Let me talk about different kind of leadership styles that are discussed in management books. This is also taken from different management books. So if you search leadership styles, you will get all this. So first kind of leadership skill that you can practice, that is laissez-faire. So this is a French word. Laissez-faire means what? Empowerment or hands off. You are trusting your team and you are giving whole authority or empowerment to the team, and I believe that they will do the job. So that is known as laissez-faire leadership. There are some leaders, they will actually give you responsibility. So when you will get responsibility, one of the way to grow your teammate, grow your team's individual skill, to give them responsibility. So when they will get responsibility, take responsibility, they will actually perform more. So that style is known as hands-off or empowerment or laissez-faire leadership style. Second one is transactional. Transactional means transaction, right? Like post office, right? Transactional leadership, actually management kind of leadership. The skills we have seen in management in the last table, management, right? In this table. So those leaders who practice mostly these kind of things, they are actually what? Transactional leaders. All right. Third one is servant leader. This is very important. In agile, In Agile project management, they practice servant leadership. What is servant leadership? Servant leadership is you will treat yourself as a servant for the people, servant for your team. You will serve your team, not your team will serve you. Rather, it will vice versa. As a project manager, your duty is to serve your team. You will promote your team. You will motivate your team. You will put your team's interests in front of you, not your interest first. First your team's interest, then your. So this is known as servant leadership. Okay. Transformational. Transformational is, if we follow this table, this kind of characteristics are actually represents transformational leadership. They want to transform, introduce change, innovate. They try to challenge status quo. So those type of style is known as transformational leadership style. And next one is what? Charismatic. What is charismatic? Charismatic leadership actually God given, God gifted. Say for Bangladesh, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was one of the charismatic leaders. Mahatma Gandhi, globally known as charismatic leader. And his philosophy, his life, his biography, autobiography, everyone is reading globally. And people are researching on his lifestyle. Mahatma Gandhi, right? So these people are actually charismatic people. God gifted leadership they got. So they, at their time, they inspire the whole nation, right? And even they are inspiring people, right? High energy, enthusiastic, self-confident, holds strong convictions. So these are the characteristics of charismatic leaderships. All right. Then interactional. Interactional is combination of best things from all these three: transactional, transformational, and charismatic. The combination of these three is known as interactional leadership. So what we actually learned here as a project manager in different situation. Let me come back to this slide. So depending upon different factors, your team situation and the condition of your project in different time, you have to use different kind of leadership. Okay, it will depend upon these factors: leaders characteristics, team member characteristics, how your team members attitudes are, moods are, needs are, values and ethics. Based on that, you have to tailor your leadership style. Then organizational characteristics. If you are working in an army, Bangladesh forces, there your management skill, your leadership skill must be different than if you work in a private sector. All right. Then environmental characteristics, social situation, economic state, political elements. So based on those, you have to tailor your leadership style and apply this kind of leadership styles in different situations. So PM work actually not promoting only single leadership style. They are actually saying in different situations, you may follow different kind of leadership style to manage your project, to lead your team successfully. Can you read out this?
Yes, sir.
Shaheen, can কি লেখা আছে Shaheen?
On a journey, leader is the servant of the people.
On a journey, leader is the servant of the people. মানে কি? What is the meaning of this?
লিডার মানে জনগণের সেবা করা হচ্ছে লিডারের কাজ, এরকম বোঝাইছে স্যার।
So this is actually the main theme of servant leadership. On a journey or on an initiative or on a project, the project manager leader is the servant of the people. You see, so this is very difficult to set in your mindset. When we become leader, we do the vice versa. We try to lead, command others. We think we are not this planet, not this from this planet. We treat us, we are the king. But servant leadership is you are the servant of the people. Okay. So let me say this is the hadith, hadith from Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is the direct translation of hadith. So you know, Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what he did in different situation. Actually, he worked as a servant for his team. And even in a journey, he distributed works between his team, among his team, and finally he took the most low grade work for himself, right? To arrange the sticks and dry leaves of tree for fire. So he took the most low grade work for himself. So he treat himself as servant for his team. So this is the main philosophy of servant leadership and agile team. Please remember, agile team actually, they mainly promote servant leadership for the projects. Okay. So this is the last slide. So as a project manager, what I mentioned, project manager is the integrator. So what kind of integration we are expecting for project manager? That is explained here. First one, performing integration at process level. That means we are talking about 5 process groups, 49 processes, and their tool techniques. In the later classes, from next day, we will start discussing on 49 processes. So as a project manager, your first and foremost duty is to integrate all the processes, tools, and techniques so that your project becomes successful. So as a project manager, see here, project manager, integration with the sponsors. What the expectation of your sponsors, or what are the strategies that are aligned with your project that you have to integrate. And at the right level or lower level, you have to integration with your team through processes, knowledge, and people. So you have to integrate process, you have to integrate knowledge, tools, technique, and people. So this is the expectation from project manager when we are talking about performing integration at process level. Second one is integration at the cognitive level. What is cognitive level? Cognitive level means, so when you are running a team, the knowledge level of your team is not the same. Maybe you are running 10 or 15 teams. All teams' knowledge level is not same. So when you are dealing with different teams, you have to talk or deal with the team with that knowledge level. For example, when you are talking with your kids, or you are trying to make something understand to your children, then you should not give any kind of example that will not be understood by your kids. So you moderate your example so that your kids can understand. So that is known as cognitive level. Based on the knowledge level of your team, you have to work, or you have to say, you have to share, you have to transfer your knowledge based on that cognitive level of your team. So if you are dealing with laborers, so your talking will be different. Again, if you are talking with your executives or your top managers, top senior managers, then your discussion will be different. So that is known as cognitive level. Third one is integration at context level. Based on the situation. Context means based on the situation and condition you have to behave. So in different condition, you have to behave differently. Maybe you are just discussing with your team. So then the tone of your voice may be different. Right? But when you are providing a presentation to different kind of stakeholders, then your tone will be different. So this is known as integration at context level. based on your context, you have to integrate yourself, your approach. Last one is integration and complexity. Very interesting thing is mentioned here. Project is not complex, rather projects contains complexity. Every project actually, there are a lot of elements and components in the project inside that are very complex. So to understand, to solve that complex situation, you have to actually integrate yourself with different modality, different skill set, different mindset. So that is known as integration and complexity. So as a project manager, we are expecting that you are having that capability and competency to integrate in these 4 areas to be a good project manager and to make your project successful. Okay, so this is all all for today. If you have any question, you can ask me. So class is, we finish the class. If you have any question, you can ask me. I will be here for 5 minutes.